I love the Godfather films so much. I have them on DVD and VHS. Check out this VHS collection right here. See? See? Pretty cool, eh? So, The Godfather, as of now, has really been touted as probably the best film ever made. You have things like Citizen Kane and Casablanca that have been around longer, that are also rated as being some of the greats. But ever since The Godfather 1 first came out in 1972, it has I guess you could say it's kind of dethroned the two as in terms of popularity and and what people consider to be the greatest. I personally, okay, I love The Godfather like the next person, but I would not consider it to be, I don't consider it to be like the greatest film ever made. There's just simply a stash of others that I think are better. I think Citizen Kane's better, Tokyo Story, The Third Man. But whenever somebody does say that The Godfather is the greatest film ever made, I'm okay with that. I don't mind. Somebody says that The Dark Knight is the greatest film ever made. I go. I am in major disagreement. But The Godfather, okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. No big deal. Well, there was a time where The Godfather was pretty high up there. Godfather's never been like my number one favorite, but it's been pretty high up there. And we all have different opinions. We all have different reasons for different rankings. So yeah, let's move on and let's get right into what the movie's all about and a little bit of backstory behind it. The movie really launched the careers of director Francis Ford Coppola. He had done some things beforehand, but The Godfather was really his first runaway success. It's based on a book by Mario Puzo, who actually is okay. When Puzo wrote the book, I actually have the book also. It's a very well made piece, and yeah, if you think that the book of The Godfather is better than the movie, I'm also okay with that. I do like the movies better than the book. There's a couple of scenes in the book that I do think are better on paper than what's presented by Coppola. There's nothing wrong with that. The movie also launched the careers of Al Pacino, James Caan, Robert Duvall, and Diane Keaton, and relaunched the career of Marlon Brando, who his career wasn't really in the dumps, but he hadn't done a really huge or massively acclaimed film in quite a while, and Brando won his second Oscar for this, and yeah, it was like beforehand he did things like On the Waterfront and Sugar Named Desire, but afterwards when he did The Godfather, that was like his last be all end all. Now, Brando, he did have the reputation as being the greatest, most influential actor in film history, and after some time, like after his little dip in the '60s, they were thinking about getting Laurence Olivier, who was Brando's arch rival, to play the protagonist of the film. But Olivier Olivier was Brando's arch rival because Olivier was the best stage actor, Brando was the best film actor. That's how they were rivals. But I don't really think that. I mean, yeah, Olivier would have done fine, but I don't know. I get like having an actual Italian play the role in this was the smarter move. And who knows how much longer? Who knows what Brando would have done? Who knows what he would have done after, like, if he didn't end up doing this first Godfather film? Probably would have been even more in the dumps. Probably would not have done Last Tango in Paris afterwards. Yeah. Now, in terms of the others, Al Pacino and others like Robert Duvall had done some things beforehand, but this was really their breakout success. Um, Now, especially the big scene stealer in this film would be Al Pacino. Him and Marlon Brando are the main characters in this, and when they when they're when they're together, like it's just so amazing. And also, this was being Al Pacino's breakout film. He does this, and every from 1971 when he did Panic in the Old Park, which was a good way to get noticed. A year later, 1972, he does this, and every year until 1975, when he does Dog Day Afternoon, he does one amazing performance after another. Panic in Needle Park, The Godfather, Serpico, Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon. That's probably the greatest acting streak in the history of film. It's got to be. So, what's the movie about? Everyone knows why. Everyone knows the certain scenes. Like it opens up um, with the Don of the family, who's played by Marlon Brando, Don Vito Corleone, talking to this guy in this dark lit room. But what's the movie really about? Um, the Corleone family, well, some people say Corleone, is the most powerful mafia family in America. Very, very top of the food chain. Now, Don Vito is the one. He's the Godfather. He helps out really anyone that he feels, and he always makes him an offer he can't refuse. That's his catchphrase in the film, and it's pretty cool stuff. He is able to um, convince sort of certain people to do crazy things, and we get to know everyone in the family really really well. The the youngest the youngest boy of the family, whose name is Michael, played by Al Pacino, is a war veteran, and he wants absolutely nothing to do with his family in terms of business standards. He loves them and everything, but he doesn't want anything to do with the family business. And the oldest son, Santino, Sonny, who's played by James Caan, is the hothead, temperamental one of the family, and the one that is going to become the new Don once Don Vito passes away. One day they get approached by this drug dealer named Salazzo asking for political protection. Now Vito, who's against drugs, declines. So so Salazzo and Tatalia, who's probably um, the lowest standing mob family people in the New York area. They have Vito gunned down, and because they know that they know that Santino is all for drugs. He knows that drugs is the future, and yeah, they know that by having Sonny as the new Don, that he'll be all for it. And even though they killed his father, that eventually he'll get around to doing business together. But Vito survives, and more mob violence gets out of hand, and Michael comes to the aid of everyone to really help out to really help the family out. Even though he hates the whole mafia business, he doesn't want anything bad to happen to anybody. It's really just to help um, save everyone. So he goes to it eventually there's these many climaxes in the film, and yeah, the scene where Michael's in the restaurant, and that really puts an end to a certain chapter of the film. It's wickedly awesome. But the thing is, there's all these betrayals that happen with the family, and you start to learn a little bit more about betrayals and who's really behind what. And the Corleone family really weakens, and and only Michael, who's even though he doesn't want anything to do with his family, he gets appointed to being the new Don once Vito ends up retiring, and to see Vito's values are old, but Michael is more of a new breed, and Michael must do things very, very drastic and be an even more brutal and more deadly mob boss than his father ever was. Now, the first little bit, from Salazzo's stuff to Michael's to the restaurant scene with Michael, it winds up more of a thriller than a drama. Actually, I know that this movie is a drama, but whatever. I mean, like, there's so much tension and suspense. It's so awesome. The second half of the movie, when the family struggles, it is more of a drama, which is fine, but whatever. The story does get more complex as it goes on, and you get to um, it becomes more confusing as who's who and who's where, really, like who's on what side of the family. So that's why the movie really needs your full undivided attention. You just need to maybe watch a movie more than once and have a good time with it. And so there's really nothing wrong with that. You just watch a movie more than once, and especially a movie like The Godfather. It's one of the best ever. And yeah, it's totally fine. Um, it's extremely satisfying, and it has probably the best acting ensemble ever put to film. I say possibly because there's just so many great things out there. Everyone in this film is just amazing. Yeah, I love this movie dearly. It is truly one of the best ever. I'm gonna give it 4 stars.